You are listening to the Sister Luna Psychic Services podcast. I'm your host, Madeline Starchild, and this is my co-host, a werewolf. Just kidding. His name's John, and he's a human.
John!
But it is the night before a full moon right now, and the day that this goes up, it will be the day of the full moon. So, we're talking about lycanthropy.
Lycanthro what?
I think it's from the Latin wolf, like lyca meaning wolf, and then anthropic meaning human or man or whatever. It literally is like wolf man. Yeah. I know how to speak Latin.
Well,
shut up.
Two of the words.
Carpe diem.
4 words. Oh my goodness.
If we include proper plant names, I know lots of Latin words. Yeah. So, Zingabar. Anyways.
Wait, what? Zingabar?
Ginger. Zingabar. That's actually like the only one I remember because I remember thinking it was super funny sounding. Okay. What's your understanding of werewolves or of lycanthropy?
Well, you want like my full rundown of my...
Your vast knowledge of werewolves?
I guess my uneducated experience with lycanthropy and with that sort of thing.
I'm sorry, you have experience with lycanthropy? I knew you liked wolves. I mean, there's a lot of wolf pictures in this house, but I didn't realize you actually have experience.
No, not experience, but like you said, my understanding.
Yeah, okay, so just give us a summary.
So...
Sorry to interrupt you, but the cat is literally clawing at the window where the moon is on the other side of it. Yeah. She's a lunatic.
And that is where I can start, is that I do know that the term lunatic comes from like a madness driven by the moon. Supposedly. Having been a bartender for a number of years in different times, and also like knowing health workers and knowing other people that deal with the general public, there is kind of like a common mythology that when there is a full moon, your customers, they're going to get weird.
Or your cats.
Or your
in
cats.
Our case.
Yeah. Your customers and cats, they're going to get weird. And I think there is probably something to it, and I think there is also some kind of like confirmation bias there, in that like you deal with a weirdo and you sort of like look at the moon and you're like, oh yeah, it was the moon that did that. But I do genuinely think that there is something to it. Like I think there is a sort of a madness or a literal lunacy.
But madness? Really? I mean, the moon creates tides in the ocean, which is way bigger, obviously, than any single human being.
Right.
So it's not surprising to me that the full moon has an effect on people.
Exactly.
But I wouldn't say that it drives them to madness.
I guess oddness would be a more apt description. You can identify a lot of odd behaviors that coalesce with a full moon.
I think it's that the full moon, so suddenly you have this bright light in the middle of the darkest part of the day, well, the night. It's revealing things that are normally kept in the shadows.
Oh, okay.
It's shining light on things that are normally in darkness.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So you're always odd. You're just normally hiding it better than when there's a full moon, is what I'm getting at.
One of my first bartending jobs when I was like 19 years old, there was a regular that we had, and her name was Kate, and she was a quite old, like probably in her 70s, fortune teller. And she almost only appeared right around the full moon.
Describe my face right now.
Yeah, it's the emoji. It's shocked Pikachu.
It's surprise Pikachu.
Surprise Pikachu, yes. It's surprise Pikachu.
Are you sure she's real and not like some kind of weird like spirit or like some kind of specter?
Yeah, we had a number of conversations, so
that doesn't mean anything.
That doesn't mean anything. Yeah, no. She was either a specter that appeared around the full moon, or she wasn't. But she would appear in our bar. She would drink glasses of the house red wine, and people would come to see her for readings.
Oh, that's old school. I tried to get
Very
that. No
old
one does
school,
it anymore. I tried to set that up. Yeah.
She had an unofficial residency around the full moon.
Cool.
And yeah, it was great. Great to see her. And she, just a good person.
Do you think she was a werewolf? I guess not, because if she was there on the full moon, like that's the way that people understand werewolves now, right? Like what is a werewolf according to you?
Well, so I at the time I would have been a daytime bartender, and she was only appearing there during the daytime.
Oh, okay, so maybe she is a werewolf.
So, in her human form, it may have been that she only, like, she had the most power.
Yeah.
During the days of the full moon.
Totally. That's how it is on TV.
It was, building up. I guess it is.
You're taking this way too seriously. You need to chill.
All right. I guess I would say the most simple is that I would say lycanthropy is change brought on through the moon, and that
you're not playing your role of like I'm just a guy. I don't know about stuff. You're being too smart.
Okay.
Stop it.
Werewolves. Blood.
Yeah, there you go, Dracula.
Yeah. Wolfman.
But you did Dracula voice. Werewolves.
This is Wolfman.
I want to suck your blood.
I want to eat a sheep.
Okay, so people think that
I'm werewolf.
Now, is it nowadays or in our days?
These times.
People think that werewolves, I mean, people don't believe in them anymore, but when they're in movies and Scooby-Doo and stuff, they are people who were bit by another werewolf, and then they get a curse that when the full moon comes, they also forcibly transform into a werewolf, like a man-wolf hybrid.
Yeah.
However, that's very different from older ideas of what werewolves are. In fact, I don't really understand how we got to where we are now. I mean, I guess I do because it's the same reason for everything else, but I just kind of wanted a more satisfying answer than that.
I think part of it might actually just be that,
Christians.
Christians, sure, but also as a parable, it's more useful to say that, like, lycanthropy, werewolfism is passed on through, like, oral spread or like...
I 100% thought you were going to say oral sex.
Yeah, you blow a werewolf, and then in modern times, diseases spread. It is easier to say, like, oh, yeah, you got a werewolf. So you're
suggesting, like, an illness.
Right, yeah. Like, it's an illness parable.
Oh, a parable, right, okay.
Yeah.
There were actually werewolf trials, like there were witch trials in Europe.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, really. So, I mean, it's more than a parable. People got their skin peeled off because of it.
Oh my god. How do you test for that? Do you just
Right?
try and make them fetch?
That's what you do in The Sims, so I assume yes.
Wait, actually?
Yeah.
Okay, like, all right. People are going to think that I stole that. But...
Or you, like, compliment their fur or stuff. I don't know. There's different interactions you can have with them. Yeah, okay. So, basically, if you really boil it down to the most basic two, like, versions, there's the version where it's a curse or, like, some kind of evil thing that's bestowed on someone by, like, another person or some other type of outside entity like that in a way that makes them, like, go crazy into an uncontrollable beast or whatever. Or there's also the version of it's just a misunderstanding of or a bastardization of shape-shifting as a shamanic practice. Like people taking ecstatic herbs intentionally in order to have, like, in order to astral project and take on, in the spirit realm, you could say, the form of animals, not literally, like, turn into a wolf.
Right. That's interesting because it immediately reminds me of, and this obviously is not the theme of tonight's show, but it could be a theme of a future show. Zombieism is that.
And that's, like, a totally different thing.
But
check back on another episode later about zombies.
But I just mean the idea of, like, it used to be that zombies were, like, in kind of, like, classical mythology, purely the result of a necromancer.
Oh, whereas now talk about a sickness parable. It's literally just, like...
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Like a bloodborne illness, usually, nowadays.
There's, in both cases, kind of a removal of a single agent, a single responsible agent.
Right. So, how do you get turned into a werewolf?
From my understanding, you get bitten by another werewolf.
Right. Some other ways that I found, which one of them is funny and you're going to like it, and the other, I mean, there's a few.
Yeah.
So, drinking rainwater out of the footprint of the animal that you want to turn into, or from certain enchanted streams, were considered effectual modes of accomplishing metamorphosis.
Okay.
I mean, what I've read about shapeshifting is more that it's literally very similar to being a scientist in a way, because it involves basically choosing a specific animal and then just, like, following it around and learning all the things that it does and, like, understanding its movements and then trying to, like, figure out what that has to teach you. Right. And, like, emulate it in some way. Like, when people are like, oh, how come a bumblebee can fly even though it's so fat and it just has little wings? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that.
The only difference is, in this case, you would be following around it with a straw.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Like a reed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some delicious... like puddle water.
Foot mud.
Yeah. Foot mud! See, foot mud could be the name of the beer that you drink that transforms you into a werewolf, because that's also one of the ways. A special beer. I couldn't get any more information about, like, what's in it or where you get it or anything, but...
So you want a beer that turns you into a monster?
Oh. I mean, yeah.
Colt 45.
Ew. Okay, no, I don't want to drink that. I just thought that could be, like, a cute play. If you were going to make a beer, you could, like, make it the werewolf beer.
Yeah.
Don't put wolfsbane in it, though. It's poison. Poison. Okay. Multiple sources, when I was, like, getting more details for this episode, I found a bunch of sources talking about a magical salve being rubbed on people that turned them into a werewolf.
Okay.
And so as soon as I saw that, I was like, drugs?
Yeah.
Definitely drugs, right?
Right.
It's probably the same idea, if not even the same herbs, probably some crossover with Witch's Flying Potion. I'm assuming. It's probably like similar, like a trance-inducing herbal salve.
Yeah.
Right?
It's that plus like an herbal just for men.
Why is there only men werewolves?
Well, the thing about just for men is it's not just for men.
She's a she-wolf in the closet.
Oh!
Yeah. Shakira will teach you about female werewolves. Ooh, this is another way to turn into a werewolf. This is a copy and paste from somewhere. Shit. It's either Wikipedia or allthat'sinteresting.com. In Italy, France, and Germany, it was said that a man or woman could turn into a werewolf if he or she, on a certain Wednesday or Friday, slept outside on a summer night with the full moon shining directly on his or her face.
What the fuck?
Wednesday or Friday, sleep outside on a full moon on a summer night with the moon shining directly on your face.
What happens on a Thursday?
Nothing.
But why?
I don't know. Too many clouds. It's Thor's Day.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know why it's Wednesday and Friday. And given that it's Italy, France, and Germany, I don't know.
What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say it wouldn't be Norse, but Germany could be. But Italy and France wouldn't. Because I was going to go days of the week after Norse gods, but anyway, it doesn't work.
No.
Given that. Werewolf trials.
Okay, yeah, because I have literally never heard of these.
I hadn't either, but when I started looking, I was surprised for 45 seconds, and then I read it a little bit more and went, oh yeah, never mind.
You just found out it's they were just literally calling Irish people werewolves.
Pretty much. More like Slavs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But no, there was even a quote too somewhere that I saw about, it said the peasants who were still practicing pagan ways would be said, oh, they're a werewolf.
Yeah. I feel like it's going to get into phrenology.
I don't know what that means.
Skull science.
Oh.
They're going to say he's got the sloping brow of a wolf.
I mean, I didn't come across that, but that's funny. If we were writing a screenplay, we could definitely put that in there.
Okay.
If anybody's interested in giving us a screenplay deal, email us at sisterlunapodcast@gmail.com.
Or if you were just generally interested in phrenology.
No.
Okay, all right. No. Do not.
Phrenology.
Yeah.
There's a reason I didn't know what that word meant, because it doesn't matter, because it's stupid.
It's definitely a fake science, but...
I maybe learned it at some point and my brain was like, no, we don't need to remember this.
It was, it's do you remember the scene with DiCaprio in Django, where he's talking about, the bumps on the back of the skull?
I mean, no, but I do know that I understand that phrenology was used in eugenics and other racist bullshit.
Yeah. Werewolf eugenics.
Only the strongest wolves can mate. Okay, so basically some godly maniacs would pick somebody and accuse them of eating children. They would say that Satan bit them and turned them into a werewolf and whatever. I saw one account that said there was a town... Shit, where was this? I think it was in France. Where there was a bunch of murders. People got murdered, including children and livestock and whatever. And then they found some person and, blamed it on him, basically. I mean, or maybe he was a werewolf. I guess I don't know. And they said, you killed all these people because you're a werewolf. And he confessed, and they said, well...
wait, he confessed to being a werewolf?
Yeah. But I mean, if you torture someone, they'll confess to whatever you want, right? Like,
sure.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, well, I mean, yeah. Yeah, okay. So they accused him of, like, eating all these children and whatever. And then, when he confessed to being a werewolf, they ripped off all of his skin, they cut off his head, and they burned his body. So it's like, geez. Calm down. Who's the, like, homicidal maniac in this situation? You are. Father.
What's, just to, like, game this out a bit. Mm-hmm. What's Satan's intent here? Like, if he's throwing the werewolf into
just to fuck with
into
people. I feel like the blame is usually on, like, bad crops or something. Like, that's usually Satan's goal, it seems.
Right, yeah.
To take down the community through messing up their crops.
Yeah. Whereas I think, like, if you put a supernatural being into it, it would kind of bolster people's faith. Whereas, like, bad crops, it'd be like, you can say, like, oh, fuck you, God. Like, you're...
This is your fault.
Yeah, literally, yes.
Yeah.
Whereas,
they didn't have critical thinking. I don't know. I have no other explanation for that.
Right.
For real. I don't know.
Okay. Satan, if you are listening.
Sorry.
Don't do the werewolf thing.
I'm just imagining him with, like, his little earbuds in, and he's got, like, a pocket in his little furry, like, leg part where he puts his phone in and he's walking around hell.
Well, he's on the treadmill.
Oh my god. I was going to say he's walking around hell, like, pointing at his demons with his pitchfork, like, hey, buddy, what's up? Can't hear you. I'm listening to a podcast. Okay. Thanks for listening, Satan. I wrote a note here to myself. Maybe the guy skinning people is the murderer.
Yeah.
Right? I murdered all these people, and people, like, now folks are starting to notice, so maybe I should find somebody to blame it on and say that they're a werewolf.
That does seem excessive. It's like...
Why do you have to peel off their skin? What does it have to do with anything? I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, I found supposedly a way to cure someone of being a werewolf is to cause them, like, extreme physical exhaustion. Supposedly that fixes it. I don't know. Christians are crazy. I mean, not now. There's lots of normal Christians now. I mean, there are probably some normal Christians then too, I guess, but there are a lot of crazy ones too. And they were the ones in charge. They were the ones ripping off people's skin and shoving random ladies into barrels full of nails and pushing them down a hill and stuff like that.
Normal people now believe a lot of bonkers shit. I think you can very much be, the frog in the boiling pot.
Yeah, I suppose. Ooh, I also figured, like, as I was looking at it and looking at the shamanic aspect of werewolves, I was thinking about it's like Game of Thrones. Like, all the Stark children, except for Sansa, are werewolves, according to that definition of people who, like, take over the body of a wolf when they're in an altered state of consciousness.
Right. A warg.
Yeah, but it falls under werewolf according to, like, the broad definition. Yeah, and I was really surprised to read that it's like not another werewolf that bites you that turns you into a werewolf. It's like Satan himself comes along to bite you, and then that turns you into a werewolf somehow. Which feels like that's a lot of legwork for Satan to have to do. Yeah. Like, how many people did you execute for supposedly being a werewolf? That's how many times Satan himself had to come all the way up out of hell just to chomp on some poor, unsuspecting peasant, European peasant.
He's a busy dude. It's a big portfolio to run. And
could you imagine being Satan's personal assistant? Like, how much fucking work that would be? And your boss would be a real asshole.
Right. Would he?
I mean, I don't know. Depends on who you ask, I guess.
He's kind of chill, like, I don't know.
Again, really depends on who you ask.
It really, yeah, and this isn't part of the episode at all. Satan's kind of multifaceted, like, if you're talking about, like, the difference between, like, Lucifer and, like...
Yeah, we could do another episode about that.
Ooh.
We could get someone on here actually, like, likes him. Or
Oh, like a Satanist?
Well, I guess, yeah. But not like a member.
Not like a libertarian freak, but...
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a rape apologist or a libertarian, but just like someone who kind of thinks that the
Like
morning star is like a cool thing, but not... Yeah. There are a lot of them. I know them.
Yeah.
We can arrange that.
Also, if we didn't cut this and you're listening, we will take you.
Yeah. Email us. Reach out to us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Like and subscribe.
Okay. Sorry. I just laughed again at my own note about maybe the guy skinning people is the murderer. It's just so obvious that the people who are the ones pointing the fingers at everyone else and saying, this person is evil, look how evil they are. Yeah. It's like, clearly you're the one who's evil.
Oh, yeah. Especially like, when you're
what?
Like, that guy's evil. We should skin him.
Right?
It's like, wait a minute. I like what you're saying.
I acknowledge I have a bit of that in me, though, too. Like, sometimes I was...
Oh, yeah.
Like... I don't know. Especially because I listen to a lot of true crime stuff, so I hear some stories, and I just think, I would like to strap that person to a chair and rip off each of their fingernails individually. Like, I think of fucked up shit like that sometimes, and then I'm like, well, am I just as bad as that?
Yeah, that's not good. You're basically the equivalent of, like, a Facebook boomer who, like, they hear about someone, like, shoplifting, they're like... They fucking did that to me.
Okay, but
like
no, not shoplifting. I'm talking about like
actual
men who literally drive around in a white van and say to each other, "We're gonna rape and murder a woman of every year of the teens. That's our goal in life." Yeah, that
doesn't happen.
Yes, it happened. It's real. Yeah.
Okay.
Roy Newman and Lawrence something? I don't know. Yeah, it's real. And people think that it's the reason why we're all afraid of the windowless white van now. Because it was them. They really did it.
Yeah.
And so that was... Yeah. One guy keeps, like, trying to get paroled. And I just want to hurt him. I don't know.
No, fair.
Anyways. If this was Puritan... times or whatever, he'd probably be standing up on the pulpit saying, this person's evil. This young girl has a demon inside her and I need to take her for private exorcisms so that I can get the demon out. Rape, rape, rape.
Puritan Times is the worst theme restaurant.
Like medieval times, except you just get a bowl of gruel and you're not allowed to drink and
you just watch a witch trial.
You have to wear a stupid hat. Yeah, that sounds terrible, but hilarious. We should put that in our werewolf movie. Yeah. Puritan Times. What if it was a time travel werewolf movie where people from, like, our day and age go to the restaurant Puritan Times and then they, like, somehow get sent back in time and accused of being werewolves?
Are there actual werewolves in the movie at all?
Of course.
They're the heroes.
Sure.
Yeah, I like it. They save them.
Yeah.
And then they all come back to the present. And then they get bulldogs.
What?
Like when you have a margarita and there's Corona.
Oh, okay. I was imagining like an actual bulldog, and I was like, why does the werewolf need to have a bulldog? Yeah. He is a dog.
It's a fun drink to have.
Right.
To cap off an adventure.
Right. And it's like, here's a modern invention that you can experience. Shit-faced werewolf sounds like a dangerous situation, though. Like, ooh.
Isn't that a movie?
I wouldn't want to have to cut the werewolf off. Yikes.
Well, that's true.
Okay. So...
That's what makes it a complicated hero's narrative.
Well, I actually, if we're going to talk about werewolves, like, in media, I really liked the way that they portrayed both werewolves and vampires in the TV show Being Human. Also, What We Do in the Shadows is the fucking best. But Being Human is, like, serious.
I've
kind of
never seen Being Human.
Okay, well, it gives me some evidence for my next point. The all-important question. Who's sexier? Vampires or werewolves?
Werewolves, obviously.
Well, most people say vampires.
That's stupid.
Like, the vast majority of people say vampires. I agree. I think it's stupid. There's a reason why I'm engaged to the hairiest, biggest man around. I'm not engaged to some, like, weird little pale, hairless child man. Or whatever.
Vampires are literally bloodless. Like,
oh yeah, how are you gonna get a boner if you ain't got no blood?
what?
Rigor mortis?
Hold on. If you're suggesting that vampires are literally always hard.
Rigor mortis of the penis only.
Yeah.
As far as traditional ideas of, like, the way that men versus women are attractive, it would make sense for people to think that female are more attractive if they're vampires and males are more attractive if they're werewolves.
Disagree.
Well, I mean, again, there's evidence.
Alright.
But
I guess, like, yeah, the hair is a big thing for the vampires. Like, and so, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't think you're going to find a werewolf with a shave. Like, anyway. In Being Human, the show, it's a werewolf and a vampire that are roommates.
Okay.
And they move into a house that has a ghost in it. So they also have a third roommate that's a ghost.
Does the ghost pay rent?
No. She's dead. She can't work.
So, freeloader.
I think she helps them by, like, scaring people. She helps them by scaring people who come to the house to, like, fuck around, I think.
Okay. So yeah, she pulls her weight, which is literally nothing, so she pulls more than her weight.
In the show, the vampire is pale. I mean, it's an attractive actor, but the amount of, like, white makeup on his face really just kind of ruins it. And he's got the slicked back, kind of black hair.
Right.
It's just not for me. I think some people have also, like, a blood fetish. And those people are definitely pro-vampire, I assume.
Well, and he's doing a lot of white face.
Well, he's actually white, so it's okay.
Alright.
Also, just for anyone listening, we know that white face isn't a thing. It's just a joke. Everybody, calm down. Yeah, but the werewolf, there was this episode that for me, first of all, the guy playing the werewolf is cute. He's cute. He's like puppy dog face. Cute. And then there's an episode where they joined the neighborhood watch because they decided that if they were on it, then people wouldn't suspect them of being monsters.
Right, yeah.
Basically. So the neighborhood watch is looking for this tagger, like a graffiti artist. And so they're just kind of out in the streets looking for this, like, teen who's tagging shit. But it's the night before the full moon, and so the werewolf's powers are all, like, amping up. And he's walking by this alley, and he stops, and he goes, like he's sniffing the air. And then he turns, and he looks down the alley really, like, fast. He looks, and then he sees the kid, and he just, like, takes off, launches himself, like, sprinting at full speed, and tackles this kid to the ground, and he's, like, growling and, like, like shaking his shoulders, and then he stops and he's like, oh my god, sorry. Like,
Oh my goodness.
let's go, the kid, because he like loses his shit. He goes into beast mode for a second, you know? And then when I saw that scene, I was like, oh yeah, werewolves. Like, that's where it's at.
That guy through that scene had so much power that when you channeled it, you freaked out like that.
Yeah, I scared the cat. It's probably because of the yelling and all the flailing I was doing, I assume, but yeah.
Sweet.
A man with a beast inside of him, like, yes, please. Thanks. Werewolves. Team werewolves. Are you team werewolves? Are you team vampires? Be sure to comment on this when we post it on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook and let us know what you think. Who's sexier? Vampires or werewolves?
It's if we're going to talk about like pop culture werewolves, I feel like you and I don't watch a lot of the same shit. And so like you never really got into Buffy. Shockingly.
I was too busy watching Xena and Charmed
Yeah.
all the time to watch Buffy.
So the general like thesis of Buffy is that like both vampires and werewolves, and I could be wrong about this because I don't remember the werewolves as much in it, but definitely like the vampires were demons. Like they were like when you drank of a vampire's blood and became a vampire, you were absorbing a demon and you became a demon.
That's kind of a cool way to present vampires.
Oh, for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
And what are the werewolves doing?
Also demons.
Oh, different type of demons?
Different type of demon.
Okay.
And so, like, that is, like, I think it does kind of, like, link back to the idea of, like, Satan
Oh,
being...
Satan turned...
Yeah.
Right, yeah, that's true.
Shit, the most, like, notable werewolf in the whole, like, Buffy verse was, I can't remember his name, but the guy from Austin Powers. Dr. Evil Jr. Zach,
No, isn't it something green?
Zach Green, yeah.
No, it's not Zach.
Is it
It's like Sean or something.
Seth Green?
Seth.
Yes.
It's not Zach.
Seth Green.
Okay.
So, yeah. Yeah, Seth Green, he was on Buffy, and he was the vampire, and he was Willow's boyfriend, like Willow's first friend.
Oh, okay. I know about Willow because when I was really sad one time, Jared came over to my house and brought me like Buffy and a bunch of other stuff to watch, and he made me watch the episode where Willow goes all like evil, and he was like, "This could be you. Just be a badass." I don't know. So I know that character. I know
potentially one of the first like notable bi characters in popular culture.
Willow?
Yeah.
I thought that she was gay and that she just like came out partway through the show. Is she bi? If so, I just misunderstood. Like you said, I didn't watch the show.
I mean, she definitely had a boyfriend earlier on.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. It doesn't mean that she's bi, but yeah.
If she had one boyfriend and then she started dating girls and never had another boyfriend, and it never got discussed,
true,
it seems like, well, I don't know. I guess it could be either.
Hard to
but
say. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you are a Buffy fan, please get mad at us.
Yeah, please.
So, yeah, no. But, his whole thing was, like... And again, I'm probably wrong about this, but, like, the werewolf was an aspect of a demon, and he... At first, they had to, like, chain him up when there was, like, a full moon. And then, like, he disappeared, and he went off to, I don't know, the Orient, and learned to, like, meditate through being a
cool.
werewolf. You know.
A Buddhist
Suppress
werewolf.
it. Yeah, literally,
Is
yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I also forgot, like, one thing that I wanted to say from earlier. So this is a really bad way to set up a podcast. I'm sorry, my notes were a bit all over the place.
No.
There was one fella who, during the times of the werewolf trials, managed to say, "I'm a werewolf," and not get in trouble. And his name was Thies of Kaltenbrunn. Kaltenbrunn. I don't know.
Sorry, Thief of Kaltenbrunn.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. Already, like...
Thies stated that he used his werewolf cloak to enter hell 3 nights a year, where he battled devils and witches in order to ensure a good harvest for the next season, and called himself the Hound of God.
Wow.
I just rolled my eyes so hard I heard them moving in my skull. So you can do whatever the fuck you want as long as you just say, we're with him.
Yeah.
God, the big guy. We're with him. Don't worry about it. I can be a werewolf. I can be a child molester. Sorry. But literally, it's like, well, I don't know. Especially in those days, you're like, well, I'm doing it for God. That was also a thing in Italy. They were doing witch trials, and they were like they were murdering people, saying that they're witches. But then there was this whole other sect of people who were claiming to use sorcery for God reasons.
Yeah.
And they were like totally allowed to do that, and it's fine. Sorry. It's just like, makes me mad.
Mad at who, though?
Well, Thies of Kaltenbrunn, for one.
I see, and here's where we differ, is I am not mad at him at all. Because
he lived to be like 90 years old, too.
Yeah, no, but like, he's not the one that's in control of the system at all. He's creating a pretty cool ruse where he's just like, yeah, no, I am a werewolf, but for God. But like, he's not creating the systems of oppression.
No, but he's like mocking the people who were accused, the family, I guess, the surviving family members of people who were accused of lycanthropy, who ended up getting their heads chopped off, all their skin peeled off, and all that.
Sure. I don't think he's mocking them, though, because it's like...
What?
If he didn't use his story to survive it, he would be with them.
I guess I don't know the details of how the story about him supposedly being the Hound of God came out. I was reading it as he just decided to start telling people that he's the Hound of God in order for him to get attention and like praise from his peers.
Okay, that's not how you presented the story. Because when you first said it, it was like he was accused.
That would be if that was the case, then that would be a very smart way to get out of it.
Yeah, which is no.
I guess we don't know. I guess we don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he can time travel. Maybe he is a werewolf, and werewolves have time travel, and he can like come on the podcast.
Yeah.
This is an official invitation to Thies of Kaltenbrunn. If you would ever like to be on the podcast, please let me know if I've been pronouncing your name incorrectly, and also please join us for a special episode.
Also, if you can drift race, we can talk about the Fast and the Furious series.
I don't think he can drift race if he's 90 years old and he's from, like, the 16th century.
Well, if he can time travel.
Oh, right. Yeah. Do you know what the cure for werewolfism is?
Kiss from a lovely lady.
No. I feel like you just end up eating her face. Well, kind of, yeah.
It seems like a kind of a permanent cure, though.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. The cure that they say for being a werewolf is wolfsbane, which is poison.
Yeah, right. Yes.
So, yeah, it's the same idea. Yeah, that's why they call it that, because people actually used it to poison wolves on purpose to get rid of them. Like regular wolves, not human wolves.
This podcast is not sponsored by The New Mutants, now in theaters.
What the fuck are you talking about?
There's a character in The New Mutants. I think it might be...
Is this X-Men?
Yes, it's like an X-Men movie.
Okay.
One of the characters, it might be the one played by Arya Stark, but I haven't paid that much attention, is called Wolfsbane.
Oh.
And her power is that she can turn into a wolf.
That's an ironic name then. That's stupid. It should
Right.
be Wolf's Wart.
Wolf's wart.
Yeah.
All right. So
That's the suffix for something if it's good for...
the
Like motherwort is...
The New Mutants was filmed in like 2017, and they've just been like delaying it forever because it's just like a bad movie, I think. And then they finally released it, or like finally decided to release it
in the middle of a
in the middle of fucking COVID. And yeah,
It sounded really clever.
yeah, it's probably not a good movie, but if you are a, I don't know, Disney or Fox executive, please pull the movie and rename the character Wolfsbane to Wolfswart.
And also give us a deal so we can have a werewolf movie as per our...
We give us a werewolf movie.
Yeah. You should not use wolfsbane to poison wolves, or people for that matter, because protecting wolves protects the entire ecosystem, including the rivers, and they're very important, and they're not gonna eat you or anything like that. Just leave them alone.
Yeah.
We need them.
Leave wolves alone.
Leave wolves alone! My eyeliner's running down my face.
Yeah. Oh my god, it actually is.
No, it's not. I'm not wearing makeup. Are you kidding me? It's 12 a.m. on a fucking Tuesday. Monday.
Yeah, I'm the only one still wearing makeup.
What?
What?
I feel like I'm forgetting something. I think there was something else I wanted to say. Well, I don't know. Oh, yeah! Lycanthropy is a diagnosable mental condition, I guess. Where, like of people
it's
who...
in the DS9?
I don't know what that means.
Wait.
Like, it's a mental condition of people who think that they're a werewolf.
Right, yes. Okay. Like, there's a... I'm struggling to think of the name of it. But there's a full, like, within psychology, a list of, like, diagnosable syndromes.
Okay.
And so you're telling me lycanthropy is part of it.
It's a rare psychiatric syndrome that involves a delusion that the affected person can transform into, has transformed into, or is an animal.
So what if it's not a delusion?
It reminds me of that Vine of the kid on the boat, and he says, "In every way except for physical, I am a wolf." Woof! Woof! Like, when I read that, the whole Vine just played in my mind. And I was like, oh my god. I'm sorry. I'm not making fun of people with actual psychiatric syndromes. Well, he put it on Vine. I don't know. He wants me to laugh about it. What other reason would there be?
No, we're having fun.
Yeah. I mean, I just thought that was super funny. Like, it's real. I want to believe that kid in that Vine doesn't actually have this disorder and that he was just being weird. But who knows? Have you ever suffered from lycanthropy? I know that okay. Also, listeners, I would like to apologize because last week we didn't upload anything. And it was because we've been trying to move and it's been extremely chaotic. Yeah. I mean, I can't even begin to describe the level of chaos. Like, if I start to think about it too much, I'm just going to shut down and I won't even be able to talk about it. And there's no visual aspect to this format where you could see my face and understand how stressed out I was by that.
But our new house has stairs now. And so...
doesn't have indoor plumbing yet, though.
Does not have indoor
But we're going to move in anyway, because that's how fucking tired I am of being half moved into somewhere. Yay! Anyways, yeah, last week we didn't record anything, and I apologize. And it was because we're in the middle of trying to move, and also in the middle of trying to renovate the house that we're moving into. as well as the house that we're moving out of. It's just 85 bajillion things going on at once. But one of the things that is happening is that we're going through a bunch of old, dusty, in some cases moldy, overall unpleasant boxes of stuff that we yanked out of this crawl space in the house where we live now. And one of the boxes that we opened was filled with just framed stock photos of wolves. There was like 15 of them. So many.
Folks, do you ever just pull out a box of pictures of wolves?
Those are yours! You're laughing at it like you're making fun of somebody else.
Yeah.
But you can only make fun of yourself. Wolf boy.
Hey, it's family.
Oh, God. It's officially September right now because it's 12:14 a.m. September 1st.
Oh, goodness.
So that means it's like we can start getting ready for fall and Halloween. Yay! Exciting.
Officially kicking off the countdown to Samhain.
That's right. You actually pronounced it correctly. Good job.
Yeah.
It's only because you've heard me scream about how people say it wrong all the time.
This is a preview for a future episode.
Yeah, so we're gonna have, because we left our vast listenership in the lurch last week with nothing to satiate their, I almost said oral needs. No. Oral as in you hear it. Isn't that a thing?
You know who the most dedicated
Audio
listener
needs?
is?
Who? The cat.
Fucking every time.
That's true. She does hang out and listen to us.
Yeah.
But Satan is a listener too. Remember, we already established this. And if there's somebody you don't want mad at you.
Love you, Big Red.
Right? I'm sorry. Good guy, Lucifer. Don't come for me. Because we weren't here last week, we're going to have 2 back-to-back guest appearances on the podcast for the next 2 episodes. And they're going to be about witches.
The whole fucking shit is about witches. What the fuck?
Because we're going to have a friend of mine and a film student, all around cool lady, Trista, on to discuss the depiction of witches in film. And we're going to have a friend of John's on.
I think that's just going to be Cam's going to be there. That's going to be a John-led episode. And it's going to be kind of a reversal because the theme, the whole premise of the podcast is you tell me about things and I'm a dum-dum. And this time it will be me talking about comic book witches. And you won't be a dum-dum, but you'll be like, hey, what the fuck, dumb?
Right. So I'm going to call out all the wrong things about the comic book witches, basically.
Exactly.
This podcast makes me sound like such a huge bitch. I swear to God, I'm not this much of a bitch in real life.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
Okay.
Sweet lady.
It's a W at the start, not a B.
What?
Witch. Witch. I'm a witch, not a bitch. Normally.
Yes.
I don't know. I can be a bitch for sure sometimes, but...
Normally witch.
Yeah.
Sometimes bad witch.
That's right. Do you think that's where the word bitch came from? Just bad witch, so they dropped the W, put in a B there for bad? No, it's not.
Why would it refer to dogs then?
I don't know. Dogs can be witches. There's lots of goddesses who have dogs as their, animal and gods.
I guess.
Hecate, for example. Hounds, those are her animals.
Yeah. What do you think, Wisp?
She's just staring at the moon. She's not listening to you. Well, her ears perked up at that.
Yeah. Little work cat.
Well, I would like to thank anybody who decided to waste the last hour of their life listening to us talk shit about werewolves. Just kidding. The podcast is super funny and informative and wonderful, and everyone should listen to it. I don't know. We try. I'm glad. If you can hear this, I'm glad you listened. Thanks.
Sister Luna says,
if you want to be a werewolf, don't take wolfsbane. Take some other type of herbs that will help you get into the right mindset to imagine yourself as a werewolf, or for you to astral project your consciousness into that of a wolf instead. And experiment with that. Explore it. Maybe you could try being a different type of animal.
Werewolves Podcast.